may remember these funny things that used to exist called DVDs. All the rage up until about 2007 or so, and then the entire DVD market just plummeted to the ground, and nobody wanted to hear about DVDs anymore. Well, even before YouTube existed, I think it was launched in 2005, something like that, I was making wilderness videos, and some of these I put on DVDs. And eventually I decided, hey, I should put those on YouTube so people can see them. And so this is the first of those DVDs that is making its way onto YouTube for the first time, in its entirety. We're going to go back in time, back through the bowels of history. Sounds gross, doesn't it? 12, 13 years ago, something like that, I started to get very excited about this river in South America that I'd heard about called the Rewa, in a country called Guyana. I know that some people had done a trip up there, and they had discovered and measured an anaconda snake 17 feet 4 inches long. Think about that. Big around as a telephone pole, and yeah, that was all I needed to hear. On this journey I had a magnificent guide and companion named Joe Fencer, who was an Amerindian Makushi tribesman from the Rewa village in this area. You'll see what he can do. Fishing with a bow and arrow, making a fire in the pouring rain. Yeah, he does it all. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Rewa River expedition. Adios! We're going to slowly make our way down the Rewa River over the course of 4 full weeks. Just Joe and I and our little canoe. Very good reason to have somebody with you on a trip like this. Somebody who knows the area, and Joe's been up here a couple of times before, is not only for safety, because we are a long way from anywhere, but just to have somebody there who knows the animal tracks, who knows the plants, who knows the animals and where they are most likely to be at what times of day. One of the main reasons for hacking through the scrub with a machete as you're traveling in deep jungle is that you have all of these cut saplings to use as markers in case you get lost and you want to find your way back. You're leaving sign all the way through to show your passageway. And interestingly enough, even in the dark, you can, it takes a while, but you can sort of feel around and you can feel these cut marks. Make your way back in the dark. Any poor helpless spider that happens to fall into the water in South America, well, he is made very short work of by the assortment of fish in there. They nibble a bit here, nibble a bit there. Oh, he might try to make a run for the rocks there. Oh, he's trying to make good. Oh, he didn't quite make it. The serious side of all this bushwhacking up creeks is that you want to make very sure you don't get your eyeball impaled on a sharp stick. There he is. Once you've spent several hours chopping through the obstacles on the creek, that there might be something extremely cool further up. The risk, of course, is that you spend several hours chopping away the debris, and there's not really much up there except more debris. If you're ever going to visit a jungle in South America or Borneo or Africa or wherever it is, get something small that you can paddle silently and float down silently rather than a motorboat.
Shri
Shri Mo Yin.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I had at a Chinese restaurant once. I don't really know. This is the Shalim tree, which apparently is used, in fact, to make dugout canoes. So what do? You chop the whole tree down and then you carve it out?
Yes.
And how long would it take to make a dugout canoe out of a tree like this?
Maybe a month.
Maybe a month with what? How many people working?
You alone.
You alone?
Yeah.
A month?
A month.
Wow. Well, there you go. I think it might take me slightly longer than a month to make it, Joe. Maybe about 4 years. One thing I've learned as a river explorer is that the dry season isn't always all that dry.
This is a pretty serious rain, I think, this one. Clouds were kind of a greenish purple. Not a good sign.
Getting dark. That's when the really cool stuff comes out. This is the black piranha, one of the larger species. Beautiful, Joe. Beautiful, man. Having Joe along, he's very useful. He can boil up a pot of tea in about 10 minutes. And while that's boiling away, he just calmly goes down and shoots a fish for lunch with his bow and arrow. You got him? Yeah. That's a nice shot, Joseph. That's not bad for the first bow and arrow escapade of the trip. And they start trying to swim off with your arrow. Look at that. Well, we just spent the better part of a week coming down from the upper headwaters of the Rewa, pretty much where the east and the west Rewa meet. And this is the first in a series of about half a dozen or so waterfalls and rapids that we have to somehow get around on the way down. There's just everything here. You got your giant otters, and you got your tortoises, and you got caiman, and big, huge piranhas, and nasty-looking monster fish, and monkeys all over the place. Imagine a huge, extremely well-fed German Shepherd. That's about the size you're looking at with capybaras there. They're massive. Make a big, loud, noisy alarm call. Another day, another piranha for dinner. People tend to think of piranhas as fairly small fish, but the black piranhas up here on the Rewa River, a lot of them get over a foot long. This is just one of half a dozen waterfalls and rapids that have to be negotiated to get up and down the Rewa River in Guyana. There's not many rivers in South America where you can cruise along and see huge groups of capybara, tapirs, and all sorts of monkey species and amazing birds and all of that. It's a pretty special place. Oh, look at those mouth parts moving. Isn't that cute? So, this is a lesson to all of us, people. Always check under the canoe seat before you sit down. The trick, of course, is to leave enough branches intact that you can pull yourself through while chopping just enough to allow the boat to just squeeze through. It's my birthday today. I'm very excited to still be alive after all of the things I've done in my life. Yeah. Not quite as dramatic as my 21st birthday. Spent in the middle of a hurricane, a raging hurricane in the Bering Sea off of the coast of Alaska. Yes. On a Coast Guard ship. Those were the days. Nearly snapped the vessel in half, it did. So today, by comparison, is pretty tame. I'm just stuck in the middle of the jungle in Guyana, in South America, on my birthday, with the rain pouring down for 6 or 7 hours straight. A couple of vultures in the tree there. Ever the opportunists, just in case we don't make it. If you come to the rivers in central Guyana, you better get used to eating this guy. This is the Haimara. Because this particular river is seldom, if ever, visited, and its tributaries, which we're exploring, are not visited at all, ever, the fishing is rather good. Despite the fact that we're above 6 or so waterfalls, there's still plenty of extremely large fish in the Rewa River here, and This is one of the biggest, tastiest, and, if I may say so, ugliest varieties available. You want me to show them the teeth? Joe wants me to show you the teeth. He's very proud of the teeth of this fish in Guyana. You're sure this is dead, aren't you? Some real chompers in there. Yeah, it looks like the inside of a wolf's mouth or something here. And yes, fully enough room to stick an entire human arm down there. So you can see why, you know, if you were to be chomped on, either by accident or by malicious purpose by one of these big Aymara 25-pound eating machines with teeth like that, you could be in a serious medical emergency. Around about 1980, give or take, we started using collectively as a species more of the Earth's resources than the planet could ever possibly regenerate. And we have been continuing to consume and use up resources exponentially since then. You don't hear population growth as a high priority for politicians these days. But when you have 7 billion human beings crammed onto a planet designed biologically for probably less than 1/20th of that number, you have a problem that simply will not go away by itself. And isn't it a funny thing? If 7 billion locusts swarmed across the land, consuming and destroying everything in their path, we would call it a plague. Yet when 7 billion humans swarm across the land, consuming and destroying everything in their path, we call it civilization. As you're cruising down the river here, you see these logs, and as you get closer, you'll notice there's quite a few bats hanging around the underside of them, like this. These guys just hang out there, attractive as ever, and eventually they all fly off like that. This is a classic example of why you shouldn't jump out of your hammock straight onto whatever's underneath it. This is about a 3-inch wide spider sitting on the tarp that I have directly below where my head sleeps.